Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Just wait for a few folks to hop on. We're getting us set up. Hey, if you're just tuning in, give us a few minutes. We're going to wait for a few more folks to get on here before we get started. Oh. Ah. Light. Lower it? No, I think it's good. Yeah. Yeah, the crane. I like his better.
Oh, his tripod better?
Mm-hmm. Mine's a cheapie.
I don't know what, I had a really good tripod. I don't know what happened to it. Table's kind of in the foreground, but I think that's okay.
Move it.
That's pretty good.
Somebody said, take your time. We've got nothing but time on our hands these days. I think we've all learned to be a little more patient. Maybe. The tree might need water. I think you might be right.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
The mayor is on it. Thank you for noticing, Celeste. Hey, if you're just hopping on, give this a share so other folks can watch along with us. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. Thanks, everybody that's tuning in. Sorry we're a little late. We didn't want to be on top of the president. And yes, we know our chairs are close. We'll move them a little apart once we get over there.
I bought this ficus tree for my mother when I was in college. That was a very long time ago.
Somebody just said you can move the tree so we could see the state flag, but was the state flag over there?
This tree.
It has not been there.
The tree has been here, and I cannot move it by myself.
The tree.
It's very, very heavy. I could potentially turn it around.
Oh.
Is that better?
Maybe. Oh no.
Is that better?
We're trying, Celeste.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that looks good. Hi, Kyle. Hi, Sarah.
I've forgotten to water during this.
Hey, we're going to get started in just a couple minutes. If you're hopping on and you haven't shared this already, do give it a share. The mayor and I are by ourselves today without a cameraman because he's upstairs in the helping video the planning meeting. And so we won't be able to answer questions as rapidly today as they come in.
Okay, have you got it where that table in the foreground looks weird?
We can move it this way and move our chairs a little. Hang on. How's that? We could just come over a little bit like this way. Actually, I know what it is. It's this. How's that? Is that better?
Oh, actually. Is that one better than get the? Hard 'cause I can't. Oh. So the comments are actually blocking the frame for you.
You can take them off.
That's gonna be better.
I think that's where we were the other day.
I think that's gonna be better.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Oh, I was gonna share a couple.
Yeah, I was gonna do one thing real quick. I want to make sure I.
I think I did something once.
Hey, we're about to get started. Hang with us. All right, you ready?
Sure.
Hi.
Good afternoon, everyone. How I touched my face. I'm not supposed to be doing that, right?
No.
So
Disclaimer: we know we're sitting too close to each other. We can't both get in the shot without doing so.
thank you for joining us this afternoon. We're still trying to bring some light into your lives and keep encouraging our community and share happy news. But I really want to start off by being very serious today. The official number registered with the state today was 28. I've since learned it's higher than that, not significantly higher, but any number is significant, and we have to social distance. I can assure you that if you're not around anyone, you're not going to contract this illness. And if you're not around anyone, you're not going to give anyone this illness. So think about that when you think, oh, I need to do this, or I need to do that, or I need to do this. And do seriously heed the warnings to socially distance yourself and protect others from contracting this virus, because as you've heard, some people do fine with it, but so many are having very poor outcomes with it, and you don't know who it's going to hit harder. So protect everyone that you love, and protect by protecting yourself, seriously. So that's my serious start, and I really do mean it, because we care about you all, and we want you to take precautions, and we want to get this virus through. And the sooner we all take precautions and we stop the spread, the sooner we can all return to lives that are going to be different, but lives that are better than where they are right now. So that's my serious warning to begin with. We will try to answer some questions. I do have my phone here. If you've watched before, you know I'm not great at monitoring questions, but I will certainly try to do my best and update you with anything new that's going on. I think the number one new thing today were orders from our Sumner County Mayor, and it's a Safer at Home declaration. It is on the Sumner County website. That website address is sumnertn.org, and it's right there on the top left. You can click and read it. We have taken hundreds of phone calls at the city today asking for guidance on whether or not a person's business or their place of employment is affected. I would urge all employers to review this document and either make the determination for themselves or to seek guidance from their counsel, because our city attorney can't advise, and so you would either need to contact the county or contact your attorney to figure out if you're affected. I think many things are very clear cut in here, but I realize that there are going to be some businesses and even industry that kind of fall between the cracks and they're not really sure where they fall, and so I would urge you to look at that. But the intent of this is to really get everyone serious about staying home, socially distancing, and only doing what they absolutely have to do. So those orders are out today. Tell me what's going on your front over at the chamber trying to help businesses, because that's going to be a big piece of it too from now and moving forward.
Oh yeah, it's a big challenge for sure. I, like you, have taken dozens, I wouldn't say hundreds, but dozens and dozens of calls today, mainly regarding that. You know, is my business essential? Am I essential? What does this mean? And I'll echo what the mayor said. Call your own legal attorney, your folks, or call the county mayor's office if you have questions to further break those down. We've been working with a lot of our businesses again today to help them modify their business models. Some of our businesses in the area that were not already online, conducting online sales, retailers, really encouraging them to close access to their facility, switch to an online model, not for forever, but for now until we get through this, because it's the right thing to do. I think I started my day with 4 calls from salons that said, what about me? I have a full day of bookings. I said, well, you know, what I really encouraged them to do was, like you said, you know, I think there's a great chart floating around out there that shows the effect of social distancing, and if, you know, it's everybody's connected, almost like a family tree, and if you cut out some of those limbs, then people stop getting infected, and I think that's one way you can do that. And so I encourage them to cancel and close operations for now, and I'm sure in a few weeks, or however long this takes, people will be very ready to get out and get their hair and nails done, all of those things. I think it's the right thing to do. I also told folks you don't want to be a headline. You don't want to be a headline. We've already seen a few of those, even in our area. We've already seen some of our businesses in our area have to send out that email to their customers that says someone in our workplace was affected by this or infected. And you don't want to have to send out that email to your clients and your customers and those who patronize your business. You just don't. That's not good PR.
And I know that that's something that every single business is wrestling with, because on the one hand, you want your employees to continue to be paid. On the other hand, what happens if someone in your business becomes infected that could have been kept safe at home? And I know there are other variables, and we're dealing with the same issues here at the city as we are continuing our essential services. Actually, we're honestly continuing most services. We have the buildings closed to the public, but we're still doing all that we're doing because we feel like as much as we can keep on track and keep employees safe, the better we will be poised for recovery when this is all over. And so those are kind of that's why we are working so hard, Kim, at the chamber, me at the city, certainly our economic development agency. We're trying to position ourselves so that when recovery begins, we have a jump start. Because we all know it's going to be tough. But if we have a plan in place and we're ready to go, we will be stronger and better and quicker, which we all want to see happen. Did have one person comment, if everyone is on the same 14-day schedule, won't the cycle start all over again? And I think that is very true. That's why, you know, we've started with the national orders and then the state orders telling people to socially distance, because each one of us plays a role in preventing the spread of this illness. And I have not been around anyone that wasn't 6 feet away for quite some time now. Kim is about the exception, maybe one other. But I have been that limited in what I have been doing, and everyone needs to be, because that will help stop the spread. But if we can't stop the spread by what we're currently doing now, then the orders and the enforcements are going to have to get more and more restrictive. And so we would love for everyone to be smart and do what they can do to help stop it now. And so anyway, I appreciate that comment. someone keeps asking about, or not keeps asking, but someone asked, and I've had this question several times, about the number of warehouses and distribution centers not closing. And they are considered essential services. They're actually considered essential services by the federal government as well. I have talked to several of our larger employers, and they have told me the steps that they are taking to keep their employees socially distanced from each other, to make sure that they are working safely, and not inspected any of them. And certainly I encourage you, if you feel like you are in an unsafe environment, to contact the health department or speak with your employer and explain to them why you don't feel safe there. I think many businesses now are giving, including the city, are giving employees the option to take leave, either vacation or leave without pay, in some cases sick time, if they're not comfortable working. And I understand that everybody would like to be able to go home and get paid, but that is not going to work. Not every employer can do that. Certainly we've all seen places where employers are doing that, and that's fabulous that you have some, people in the private sector that are very wealthy and happen to own a business that you may work for, and they're going to continue to pay their employees. Not everyone's in that same boat. And so I think I had a phone call with department heads this morning. We met via conference call, and I said to them, we have to extend grace to each other. I really believe that people, by and large, are doing the best that they can right now, and we need to appreciate that everyone is in a difficult situation, and work together to find solutions. We cannot let this divide us. This cannot let us start to pick at each other and point at each other. We can't do that. We have to do that, extend grace and take a deep breath and understand that people are trying to make the best decisions that they can. We will all make a decision during this time, every single one of us, that we wish we had not done. It may be a little tiny small one, or it may be a great big one. Hope it's not a big one for you, and certainly not for us. But
yeah, I'd say, to that, I'd say for the most part, people are being very kind right now, and I've heard a lot of good stories. I've heard from several employers today that they said, we're not worried about money, we're worried about our employees, and our employees, can we stay open? Can our employees still get paid? And, everybody's having to make hard decisions, whether it's about childcare, which I know there's a lot of moms and dads and grandparents out there making hard decisions about what to do with your kid, where to leave them, who to send them to. And then before we hopped over here, I got a call from one of my best friends. She got laid off today. And so I sat at my desk and cried for her because, what do you do? So I sent her the unemployment link. And so if you need that information, that's available. I know that's not, everybody's favorite option right now, but there are resources that are coming more and more available each day.
Someone asked the question, is city government connected in any way to local health care? No, we are not. We do not have any healthcare facilities related to the city of Gallatin. We are in touch with certainly our Sumner Regional Medical Center. We read a statement yesterday from Susan Paige. She says they are prepared to serve. They certainly are meeting the demands at this time. But remember, this push is largely about not overwhelming our healthcare system, because as people become impacted by the virus and require hospitalization, those healthcare workers need to be there, and those beds need to be there, and those ventilators need to be there for those who are seriously ill as a result of this. Had someone ask me if I could explain the shutdown of restaurants. The order by the governor that went into effect last night, or this morning, I guess, after midnight, is not a shutdown of restaurants. It is inside dining. So restaurants have the option to provide curbside, I think even pickup or takeout, whichever you call it, and delivery. So restaurants are not shut down. They just must operate in one of those three ways.
You can't dine in their dining room.
And same thing with the bars. There's actually in Governor Lee's order some opportunities for certain restaurants to have licenses to deliver alcohol with the food orders. So that's kind of interesting too.
You can get a to-go margarita.
Someone asked if swimming pool supplies were considered essential. Again, I don't know exactly what it says related to that. I'd ask yours. There is consideration in all of these orders for maintenance that has to occur to keep damage from happening. And I would think if the swimming pool wasn't maintained or cared for, that substantial damage could be done. But I don't have a pool, and I don't really know that. still, I think someone asked about the stimulus bill and where it was. I know that there was something voted on over the weekend, and I think it passed maybe passed Congress and didn't pass Senate or Senate and not Congress. I don't know exactly what happened, but I don't think that there's one finalized at this point, but they are working on that. A lot of people are asking about the stimulus check, and I think that was something that was promised early on by the feds, and I think they will certainly do something to help individuals who have lost employment, but we don't really know what that is yet. Will the free meals at the random schools still be available? At this point, as far as we know.
Yeah, to my understanding, they plan to offer those as long as schools are closed during the regularly scheduled.
It actually starts on the 25th.
Yeah, starts on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Sorry, Wednesday. Starts on Wednesday, and
23rd.
if you're just tuning in and you're learning about that, if you go to the Sumner County Schools Facebook page, they have the flyer on there. I'm sure somebody will drop it in the comments too, and we can as well. But in Gallatin, there are 3 schools where you'll be able to, if you're 18 or under, or you have a child or a loved one that's 18 or under, you can go pick up meals, breakfast and lunch at those schools. And there's other ones in the county as well. And you just have to have a child present with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a great option. And when I talked to a representative from the school system last week, they said that they plan to keep doing that as long as they were able to. So I think it's a great program.
We appreciate everything that everyone is doing in this community. There are new ideas rolling out every single day, creative ways for businesses to continue to operate, certainly really inspiring ways that individuals in our community are helping each other. And I think anything we can do to bolster community spirit is a good thing, and support each other online, support the rest of your family when you're locked inside the same 4 walls. Night after night after night. Try and find some joy in everything that you're doing each day.
I had a couple things some folks asked me to mention. Downtown Gallatin started a fundraiser, which we have a Main Street program here in Gallatin, and it's specifically to support the downtown businesses. They are trying to raise funds to offer some buy one get one gift cards, and so you can go to the Downtown Gallatin's Facebook page to find out information about that.
Thank you, Megan, for sharing the link with the information about the school meals.
Yeah, thanks. So that's in the comment thread if you're watching. Also wanted to mention we've got some resources being added to our website. We've got all those takeout and delivery options added. We expanded that and listed some more businesses today that are offering different services. And then there's also some resources to help you navigate working online, some things in helping you if you're a small business file for some of these loans that are becoming available, and then also some tools to help you navigate the unemployment process if that becomes something you need. We mentioned community spirit, 2 things the chamber is doing right now. We launched our t-shirts yesterday. We've had a really positive response. I placed an order for 200 t-shirts right before I walked over. So we've got those. All proceeds or all profit from those shirts are going directly to businesses in the community to help them with some relief and support efforts. Then of course we've got the decorating contest, which I think is a good way to lift spirits, because who doesn't love Christmas lights and decorations? So people can put those up.
Very, very nice. The City of Gallatin does have a COVID-19 page on their website now. Our website's gallatintn.gov. I'll remind you that there is the coronavirus.gov, which is the federal website with coronavirus information. I was in on a conference call with other mayors today with our emergency medical professionals with the county, and they were talking about the Johns Hopkins site, which is one that I visited on occasion. It's a really good site with very up-to-date information about how we're trending. And frankly, the United States and Tennessee are not looking great right now. And so that's why I kind of began today with a very serious request, ask of you all, because we're going to have to do better. We've got to stop it across the state and across this country. And as long as people are thinking that they're invincible and not going to spread it, we're not going to be able to do that. So reach out to those who may not be on social media. We talked before, some of our parents maybe don't understand the seriousness of it. I've heard more than once, we lived through measles, we lived through smallpox, we lived through all the wars, and right now I think they feel pretty invincible, but we don't want them getting sick. And so help them understand why it's serious and why they need to stay indoors because they're particularly vulnerable. And then maybe on the other side would be the teenagers and the young adults who also feel, if you recall, if you're not that age now, if you recall, tend to feel that same way. And I would encourage you to do that.
I did see an email today that came over this morning, EMA, EMS. They have a need for some supplies, gloves, sanitizer, and disinfectant. So we have a drop at our office, the chamber office next door. It's outside between 9 and 5:30, so it's closed up for today, but I've got a basket outside the side door. You can just drop stuff by and I will make sure it gets to them safely. You don't even have to talk to me, just drop it in there and we'll carry it over to them. So they are in need of some extra gloves and sanitizer and disinfectant to help keep them safe right now. There's also blood drives that'll be starting, weekly blood drives organized through the Red Cross and Sumner Regional. There is a significant need for blood right now, and that's nationwide. And so they will be having weekly blood drives. They have those scheduled out. We'll share that information. The first one is March 30th at Sumner Regional Medical Center.
Patrick Flowers posted the link to the tracker, which I think is the one put out there by Johns Hopkins. And then someone asked if the city of Gallatin was going to help manage privately held central supply locations. And I would say no, because I don't think that we have any in Gallatin. I understand that each store has their own probably warehouse built within their building, and we're certainly not going to be in that. But I don't think we have any grocery distribution. Maybe one,
yeah.
But no, I don't see us going into that. No real questions. Lots of thanks. Thank you guys. We appreciate the support that you're showing to us. It indicates that you're the very people in our community who are showing support to your neighbors and encouragement to your families and your friends. And so thank you for doing that. Lots of good comments, and I appreciate that. This says, based on the influx of traffic at Lowe's during this, it will be needed for sure. People will continue to go against best practices until it's a requirement and not a suggestion. Unfortunately, many people are not taking it as seriously as they should. I absolutely agree with you. And I certainly wish that they would take it very, very seriously because as everyone is saying at this point, lives are at stake, and certainly our way of life is at stake. And the longer we go with this, the longer our recovery is going to be. The shorter that this virus is in our midst, the shorter our recovery will be. And that's certainly what we all want to happen. Paramount, however, is we want to save lives. We don't want our friends and family, even in strangers among us, becoming ill or losing their lives. So, Kim, anything else for you today?
No, there have been a lot of questions about child care facilities. I think folks had a lot of concerns, and most of those I've learned today have closed. There are still a couple that are open, and I think they're really reevaluating how they operate now. And that's a really tough decision because they do provide child care for some of those essential employees that are very, very essential in that they work at the hospital or they're emergency responders and just different fields. And so those are really tough decisions. So I do ask that if your child care facility closed on you and put you kind of in a bind for child care, show them grace because that's a very hard decision for them right now because they realize, and they're missing those kids. I know I've heard from a lot of teachers that are missing your kids right now, and I'm sure there's a lot of parents that wish they could send their kids back to those teachers this week.
But they're also in that boat where they don't want to have a child who contracts the illness, and they wonder, should I have done differently? And I think that's weighing on every business owner's mind right now is I don't want people to get sick. I'm trying to prevent it, but at some point someone's going to have someone get sick and they're going to really feel responsible for it. And I would submit that they're not necessarily responsible because no one knows where they are exposed to it. So again, it's that time in our lives to extend grace and compassion and empathy to one another. So that's it.
That's it.
Y'all, thank you. Appreciate you continuing to keep up with what's happening in your community. It's obvious you love and care for our community just like we do. And send us your ideas, suggestions, and we'll keep trying to make things happen and do what we can to help in this. Y'all take care of yourselves. Have a good night.
Yeah, and we'll be back tomorrow. I think we're going to move a little earlier, though.
We may be tomorrow at 4. We're trying to avoid the President's Address. Also, I do want to tell you tomorrow, look for something coming out with James Fenton from our Gallatin Economic Development Agency because we're working on a plan. I don't know, we may call it Poise for Recovery or whatever it may be, but we're working on a plan too so that we can lend great support to our larger employers, because our larger employers, many of whom are tier one automotive suppliers, are really taking some serious hits right now, and it may take a while for them to come back, and as it will everyone. But I want our EDA director to be able to tell our community what they're doing to support business and industry right now, and what we're going to be working on so that we can help when the recovery begins. So with that, we appreciate you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Take
Bye.
care.